So now we're going to build the booster system for the departure zone. This is the booster that will actually send our cart down the track to our destination. And this is really pretty easy. So the first thing we need to do is just dig out a standard little booster right here. And you can see this is pretty short. It's only 3 blocks long. But I'll show you why we can get away with that in just a minute. But then we just lay track just like normal. And have it wrap around on itself. So there's that part. And cap the end here. Alright, so this is our booster, our holding area right here. And from here we just run the track out parallel to our existing track here. And then here on the back end, I'm going to do something that's a little bit strange. Basically, I'm going to build a Pez dispenser, just like on the other side, except rather than dispensing carts when we want them, it's going to act as the cart return for our booster system here. So first I just built a little ramp right here. And then I'm going to extend a block out over our existing track. And then, just like the Pez dispenser, place a block on the end and destroy the last 2 blocks of the extension. And what we want for this to work is we want this gap to be right over our slope in our track here. And so what's going to happen here is our cart's going to come out of the booster system and then go up this ramp, hit this block, and then fall down onto the slope where it'll have momentum to start the booster again. And kind of the reason I'm doing this is, one, I just think it's kind of a fun way to build a booster, and two, if you're building a station like I was earlier in the video, where you have sort of a first floor where everything takes place and then all the mechanics are underneath in the basement of your building, it can be nice to just have your carts drop right back on to the booster system rather than having to build a ramp down, you know, for the carts to roll down the ramp. It can save you a little bit of space if your building's kind of small like mine was. But anyway, now that we've got that, we can do a little bit of wiring. So the wiring for this is pretty simple. Basically, we're just going to put a stone pressure plate right in a gap on our track here. And this does need to be a stone pressure plate. I'll talk a little bit more about the differences between stone and wooden pressure plates in the next section. But for now, this does need to be a stone one. So once that's set, we can go in the little tunnel I already dug out and start laying our redstone wire. And again, this block right here is directly below our stone pressure plate. I figured that out earlier. And likewise, this is below the curved track piece that's going to act as our exchange. So once that's done, the main part of our booster is basically complete. Now we just need to set some carts in here. And earlier I pointed out that this booster section is pretty short. And the reason we can get away with that is that we're going to build a double booster. And this was kind of the subject of my earlier video, so I won't go into great detail over what's going on here. You're certainly welcome to watch the other video if you're curious. But suffice to say, we're putting a cart on the bottom track, extending a block over it with a cart piece on top, and then another cart on top of that block piece. And then when we remove this block, the top cart falls down and merges with that bottom cart, and that provides us a much more powerful booster, so we can keep it nice and short. So then I start up my booster here, and let's give it a shot here, see what happens. Something weird's probably going to happen up here that I'll explain in just a second, but we'll give it a shot and see. So you can see, as soon as it hit this block up here, took off to the side. That's kind of one thing I've found out about double boosters. They kind of have a tendency to do that on discontinuous tracks, and it's something to do with the southwest rule that controls objects orientation in the map. But to fix it, we can just build this extra little extension to the side, and then we can actually destroy that block to save on materials, and this will prevent that from happening. So we'll reset our booster again. And get things restarted. Okay, so let's test it out with a minecart. I'll see how our station's working. Okay, so the next issue we had, you can see our minecart rolled right past our stone pressure plate. So what we can do to fix that is pretty simple. If you destroy the track piece directly adjacent to the stone pressure plate, that will keep it kind of in line here. So let's try it one more time. So okay, now you can see it's stopped about halfway on our stone pressure plate, and that works for us. So we can jump in the cart, and there comes the booster, and off we go. So since we haven't finished the arrival zone here, we don't stop or anything, but I just jumped out of the cart. So that's pretty much it for the departure zone here. And for the arrival zone, it's going to be very, very similar. Basically, the whole booster setup is almost exactly the same. So I'm actually not going to show that part. I'm just going to build it. And I'll talk a little bit about what I did in the next section. But for the most part, it is almost completely identical to this part. The big difference is sort of more with the redstone wiring than the actual minecart tracks. But that's about it for this section.